Hey everybody, it's Aquaman, and on today's episode we're going to talk about hiking hacks. Stay tuned. And welcome back. Again guys, my name is Rick, also known as Aquaman on the trail. So, alright, today we're going to be talking about hacks. Now, why are hacks important to me? Well, my profession is an occupational therapy practitioner, and one of the main goals for my occupation is for developing independence and functionality for people in their lives. So, by nature, I look for easier ways to make things work, and so that's why I did a bunch of research. These hacks that I'm going to show you today are not all of my design. A lot of these are from research, and the whole purpose of these hacks is to make your hiking adventure easier. So hopefully you'll be able to use some of these. And again, I don't take full credit for any of these. A lot of these I found from other viewers, and so hopefully they help. All right, I'm also going to be working off my notes because there are a lot of things here and I don't want to miss anything. So if you see me glancing at my notes, that's what I'm doing. All right, so the first one was something I did come up with, and it was for putting watermarks by measuring out using an actual measuring tape or measuring cup, and using my water bottles that I plan on using on the trail. This is my personal water bottle that I'll use for carrying water and sipping on the trail because it's got the flip cap. And then this is my cooking and storage bottle that I'll keep in the pack. But again, I need to know how much water I'm using throughout the trail. So let's say my meal says it needs 1 cup of water. Well, instead of trying to look at the cup and determine the measurements inside the cup, I can just use the water bottle and say, okay, I know if I pour to this line, I've got 1 cup. And again, you just measure it in, take a Sharpie, mark it, do the next cup, mark it. And then what I did on top of that is I used clear packing tape and I put that over the marking so that way they're rub resistant. So that way I'm not going to just accidentally rub it off, or it's not going to just get chipped off along the way too quickly. Okay, so that's the first hack. I'll move things off to the side so we can get to the other items. All right, number 2, this is more of an item that a lot of hikers are moving to. This is just a no name brand that I got off of Amazon, and it's the little sit pad. Now, why is the sit pad so important? Well, because it's got multiple purposes. So obviously, number 1 is a sit pad. Number 2 is you can double it up, and if you have to take a knee, this saves your kneecap. So you can put this down for something. Let's say you're working on the fire and you're bent down. You can put your knee on this, and that'll protect your knee from just constantly rubbing into the dirt. Speaking of the fire, it also works good as a way of fanning the fire while you're working on it. So you're not like and blowing. You can use this as a great way of stoking the fire without having to get down there and get your face in the fire. Or you can use it to help get the smoke away from you. Another good thing to do with these is put it right outside your door and use it as a doormat before you get in and get out of the tent. You can use this, shake the dirt off before you bring it in, get ready to leave, open it up, step on this, especially if you're putting your socks on or your boots and shoes on. You can stand on this so you're not getting your socks dirty prior to putting them into your shoes and boots. So again, a very useful item as far as a hack, just something you can use it for other than just to sit on to make things comfortable. All right, next one is one that I came up with. I carry my tent stakes in an actual tent stake bag, and one of the things I decided to do was, because I got some that had some really good points to them, I didn't want this to puncture inside, puncture through the bag, or to start poking things inside my my pack. So what I did was, and this is aging myself, is I got one of these old school film canisters. And what I did was I took some foamy material, and this is just craft foam. It's stuff you can buy pretty much at any dollar store carries it. And what you do is I just cut circles out, and I put 2 or 3 circles of this because it's fairly thin, and now it's got inside here, so as the steaks go down, now there's a padded surface. This weighs next to nothing. I think I weighed it in and it was ½ an ounce, if that. And then you just put this back inside the bag. It goes to the bottom. And now your tent steaks are protected from poking through because now you have a solid surface on the bottom. So that's one of the ways I decided to use as a hack for protecting my gear from being poked by the tent stakes. All right, next, using bandanas. All right, a lot of people use bandanas, and some people have recommended doing buttonholes. And if you've got the opportunity to use a sewing machine and you can add buttonholes, that's great. I opted to just add grommets. It was easier for me to add grommets, and I got myself a nice orange bandana, and there's a reason for that. And I put 2 grommets on it, one on each of the top corners, and the reason being is, one, you basically can now double it up, clip this on, and now you've got a way of wiping your nose or wiping your head, and it's clipped on, and the grommets help secure it from being ripped. Another good reason for this is, let's say you get into sunny conditions now and you got a ball cap, you can bring this around the top of the hat, clip it, or put a tie wrap here, and now you've got something that'll protect the back of your neck. That's another option. Another one, and this is one I saw on somebody else's video, was to, when you get to camp, is you set your bear bag line, and then what you do is take the D-ring or the beaner, and you clip a bright colored bandana, hence orange, to your bear line. So after dinner, now that it's gotten dark, it's easily identifiable as to where yours is. So you can just simply go over, clip this off, clip your bear bag, hoist it up, tie it off, and you're good to go for the night. So, and I often carry 2 bandanas because one, when you get it all soiled from sweat, snot, dirt, whatnot, you can wash this one, again, using the grommets and a beaner. You can clip this to the outside of your pack, and you have a fresh one to use that day. That night, now you wash this one off, swap it out, and now you've got an interchangeable system, and that way you can use bandanas. All right, so moving right along. All right. Okay, a chamois cloth. All right, now this one's fairly thin. You can find thin ones or thick ones, but what you want to do is bring a chamois cloth, and this can work as both a camp towel for yourself, or I like to use this on damp days where when I set up my tent in the rain, I now have some moisture, some condensation inside the tent. I can use the chamois. I can dry the tent out, wring this out, hang it inside the tent overnight, and now I've got a dry surface inside the tent without having puddles to worry about setting stuff in. Chamois are lightweight, they're easy to use, they work great for absorbing large amounts of water. So I recommend using a chamois, like the Chamois style, or just find a chamois at any auto parts store. All right, next. Okay, this is an oldie but goodie, and that is using duct tape on your trekking pole. That way you have immediate access to some duct tape for quick repairs. Now, I actually measured out, this is actually 1 yard of duct tape, and that's about all it takes up. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room, and I put it on both of my poles, so now I've got 2 yards of duct tape to work with for doing repairs in the field. And I also make sure I tab it so that it's easy access. So I'm not constantly trying to use a nail to peel it up. I can easily get access to it, but I don't use enough of a lip that it's going to be wasteful. So anyway, that's one of my hacks that I found, and I find it to be a very important one because, again, you are self-reliant in the field, so the hacks that you bring with you need to be things that are going to help you prevent you from having to be relying on other people. So the more self-reliant you are, the more independent you can remain, and the longer you can stay in the field between resupply and emergencies. All right, next. On the same vein is to use Leco tape, so, or medical tape. So medical tape comes in this big roll. It can be kind of heavy, and you may need a lot of it, or you may not need a lot of it. But a neat way of getting it and having access to it is put it on your chapstick. You're probably going to have your chapstick readily available, and let's say you stop for a bit and you have a hot spot. Now you have access to your Leco tape without having to dig through your pack and find it. And this should be enough to be able to treat most hot spots or blister issues on your feet. And again, it keeps it readily available to you. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room, and it actually adds as grip. So when you're using your chapstick, you're less likely to drop it with a slick surface, especially if you're wearing gloves. So it does multi-purpose. All right. Now, many people have talked about bringing dental floss with you for doing sewing emergencies, because dental floss is actually stronger than using thread in the field. That's great, and I highly recommend doing that. But you talk about the thread, but what about the needles? So what I did was I simply take the container and I open the container up and I put sewing needles in with the dental floss. It's not going to pull, the needles aren't going to pull out while you're pulling dental floss out. And then I went ahead and pre-threaded with some thread 2 of the 3 needles. I bring 3 as redundancy. And the reason for doing the pre-threading is you can tie the thread to the dental floss, and then that'll help you pull it through and get it started. Okay, and again, so you can see the needles in there. I'll make sure you guys can see them. And it just goes inside. You still have full access to the dental floss as normal. And now you have needle and thread as a multi-purpose item. All right, so emergency money. Well, we all have, you know, little containers of medicine that we try to bring with us. So why not store a little bit of money inside with it? Okay, you know, maybe a 20 spot just for an emergency. So you just keep it in there. So if you need it and you've lost your wallet, you know you at least have a little bit of cash, and it's kept in a place that is fairly inconspicuous. Plus, you can still have full access to your meds that you keep inside the vial. So again, another good little multi-purpose container. All right, the next one is adding loops to your bear bag. Now, this again was I learned from somebody else, and what I did was, this is a Z-Pack bear bagging kit, and this will work on any kind of bear bag kit that has a clip. So what you want to do is, instead of hanging, because what a lot of people will do is they'll simply just clip and then they'll hang, and now your beaner is hanging off the plastic clip. Well, depending on how heavy your bear bag is, that puts undue pressure on here, and it could possibly break one of the clips. So what I did was I simply used some very small cord, and I made 2 loops on either side through the webbing. Now when I go to hang, I hang through the loops. So now the pressure is, one, it's separated into 2 points, and it's working off the webbing and not working off the plastic. So therefore protecting your clip on your bear bag. So I'll make sure you guys can see how that's set up. And again, it's very simple, doesn't add any undue pressure to the system, and helps again support the buckle when hanging this way versus this way. All right, again, moving along. All right, now those of you starting off in the early months are going to find that your boots and shoes are likely to get frozen solid if you leave them out or even in your tent overnight in sub-freezing conditions. So a trick that I learned was, now I use hiking boots, so I was able to find these very large Ziploc bags. These are really cool. And what I do is I've actually put my dirty boots inside the Ziploc bag. I take as much air out as I can, and then this will go into the inside of my sleeping bag down in the foot box off to the side. This allows my boots to basically stay a little bit warm, so they're not going to get frozen, and keeps them out of harm's way. If you're using trail runners, you can use gallon bags, maybe 1 bag for each shoe, or low hikers. So again, there's different bag sizes. This just works really well for my boots. I use the Solomon boots, so they're much bigger. and this helps me. So I thought this would be a good one to let you guys know about that I use. Okay, moving along. Let's see. All right, this again was something I learned from another hiker. So let's say we get into some cooler, windy conditions, but it's not really cold enough to put your jacket on, and you're afraid of getting your back and jacket all sweaty. What you can do is you take your jacket, you put your jacket on backwards, and if it has a hood like this one, you just tuck the hood in. Simply wear the jacket backwards. Now, the part exposed to the pack is open, so you're not going to get the jacket all sweaty, and your arms and chest are now protected from, windy conditions and cooler windy conditions. So, again, another interesting little hacker hike. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. This is an easy one for, again, your boots are soaking wet from the day before, and you've got fresh, dry socks on, and you're loathing the idea of having to put your feet now into these soaking shoes and boots. What do you do to prevent that? Well, a simple one is to just bring a couple of grocery bags, and you simply put your foot in the bag and try to find one that doesn't have any holes in it, obviously, and then you just put your foot into the shoe as you normally would, tuck this into the sock or into the shoe, and go about your business for a while. The heat from your foot will help dry out the boot and keep it from soaking into your socks right away. So yes, your feet will eventually get wet, but you don't have to start the day right off the bat with your feet being wet. So again, keeping your feet dry is a very important aspect of health out there, and trashed hiker feet can take more people off the trail than just about anything else is bad feet. All right, next. Now this is an oldie but goodie, and that is compactor bags. Now, I got into an argument with somebody who's like, are you talking about contractor bags? I said, no, compactor bags. And there is a difference. Contractor bags, if you don't know, are these large, huge, oversized, heavy-duty plastic bags that are used for throwing construction materials. It'll hold 2x4 scraps and metal scraps without usually puncturing. But those are usually way big. So when you're looking for something, you're looking for actually compactor bags. And sometimes these can be hard to find. I had to actually go to Amazon. These are smaller size bags, but again, just like the contractor bag, they're very heavy duty. And what you do is you line your pack with the bag, and then once you've got all your stuff inside, you simply can roll it down, tuck it down, and now you've got another barrier to prevent your stuff from getting soaking wet. So compactor bag, not contractor bags, but compactor bags. All right, now moving right along. Having a dedicated trash bag. So what I use is just a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and this usually does me fairly well between times that I get to a garbage can or into a town for resupply. So trash bag, but I make sure I write trash on it, so that way nothing accidentally gets put in here other than trash. All right, so that's just a simple one. Now, those of you who are using things other than toilet paper, or if you are like a female, or you're using baby wipes, or you're just somebody who believes in packing out every piece of paper that goes in, including your toilet paper, but you don't have to look at it. Another hack that I saw was to simply take a Ziploc bag, take duct tape it around. Now you've got a Discreet disposal bag. So now you can throw all your stuff in here, close it up tight so it's airtight, and now you've got another way of keeping your stuff safe and pack it out. All right. Now, just for a couple of little extras, things that I recommend bringing with you. One is get a set of small beaners. All right, about 4 or 5. These things become invaluable, and the reason being is these allow you to hide things, but it allows you to hang things throughout your pack on the outside, such as my trowel, I can now hang this easily on the outside of my pack using a beaner, and the little beaner clip makes it easy. So instead of me having to pull out everything to find this, I know it's on the outside. So when nature calls, I can grab this quickly, go off trail, do my business, and then just clip it right back onto the outside of the pack and keep going. So beaner clips allow you to hang your socks, hang hats, hang gloves, hang just about anything. So it's good to have a set of these. They don't weigh much, and again, these become invaluable. Now, we already talked about having the duct tape on your trekking poles. So other means of repairs are zip ties. I carry about 10 zip ties in a plastic bag. Now, I did weigh this. This came in at 0.3 ounces, so not even a full ounce. And zip ties, again, can be used for securing all kinds of things, doing quick repairs. So zip ties are invaluable in my profession, so I highly recommend those. I also carry some small line. This isn't paracord, this is actually smaller than paracord. It's much lighter. I carry a bright color so I can use it. So if I need to add a guideline to my tent because it snapped off or something broke, I always carry a little bit of extra line so I can do repairs. And then for my dinner, I carry a little piece of sponge inside its own little bag, so that way I can clean out my containers, so therefore I know all the residue is cleaned out and I'm not going to be carrying, bacteria from one meal to the next meal, and therefore cutting down on any kind of stomach problems. So, all right, guys. Well, those are my hacks. I'm sure there's a ton more. If you've got some great ideas, please leave them down in the comment section. I would love to hear about some more of them. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and thank you. And I'll see you out on the trail.